Hey everybody, sorry to bother you. I'm going to go over a couple things here, some points I've already made. But I just feel like I need to do better jobs of explaining some of this stuff. Because it's all kind of broken up, so I'm trying to condense a lot of it into single videos and whatnots and have-yous. So, give me a sec here. Let me start the process on this sucker. French press, if anybody is wondering. This or a percolator is really the best way to make coffee at home. Alright, let that brew for a second. Oh, look at me, I'm real close up there, people. Sorry about that. And you might hear my air conditioning, because it is hot as fuck here. Let's find our big black and get started. Okay. Just in case I cut that all out. Hey everybody, sorry to bother you. Just wanted to go over a couple points I've already made in some play videos. I might even made them on the whiteboard videos as well. But it's important stuff, especially with the spider, the GTA guys. You guys are obsessed with the spider and the center of the spider and everything right now. And I know people hate when I say this shit, but I know what that all means. So you're not looking for a physical key. What they're telling you and all that stuff is like, go to the center of the spider. And they mean the center of the spider in Red Dead. They might mean one in GTA too. Like, I don't say everything with 100% certainty. What I'm trying to say is I say this a lot, there's multiple paths. I'm just trying to show you the path that I took to get where I needed to be. I was a little under the weather there, so I'm just a little concerned about him. Yeah, so you guys are obsessed with the spider right now. I totally get it. You should be. It's a huge part of the puzzle. Center of the spider, I think what a lot of people in GTA aren't realizing is, like, we, in the Red Dead guys, we already figured out the center of the spider, right? Like, we found all the spider webs, and they lined up the cigarette card and noticed that all the legs point to the different webs on the telephone poles, and it lines up with the center where you find the north telephone pole spider web, right? So that's what they're trying to tell you here. The center of the spider is key. Okay, it might mean down the line maybe we do have to find a key and put it in something. I don't know, but right now all those clues, the tattoos and everything, it's just telling you, go to the center of the spider. It is the key. And I know that because when I went to the center of the spider, again, watch that center of the spider video I got up there. I think it's like episode 8 or something of my spider mystery stuff. So you go to the center of the spider, you get north telephone pole in the trees, right? In the web. And what I'm trying to tell everybody is, like, that's not the only sign there. And this is why it's key. Because when you go there, you'll find some creeping time, right? So you'll start collecting your creeping time, which again is a play on words. And you come and you pick up your creeping time, right? And then when you pick up your creeping time, when I say it's a play on words, it means it's literally time to creep, to walk slow, to take in your surroundings. Anytime you find that shit, that's what you're supposed to do there. Maybe not any time, I can't say that for sure, but that's how it's worked for me. It's like, okay, you got some creeping time, slow down. Then you're going to find, I believe it was Indian tobacco. You'll pick up your creeping time, you hit your thing to see if there's anything else around, and then you immediately see some some Indian tobacco. So you go pick up your Indian tobacco plant, and as you walk from the creeping time to the Indian tobacco, and then you pick that up, and then you'll find yourself facing this tree. And this tree is important because it is another representation of the telephone pole that they're pointing out to you in the web here. And I know that for sure. So the tree that you find the web on actually has one branch. All the branches seem to be kind of pointing upward. All right, so let's draw this a little better. This was just rough, but all the branches on this one tree are kind of pointing upward like this, except for 1 and 2 branches that just kind of point like that. Okay, so that's like kind of what the tree looks like. So all these are pointing up, and then these two branches are pointing this way, and what they're pointing to is this tree right here. Okay? So the telephone pole spider web has a branch that points to another tree, and it definitely points. It's like a 45-degree angle, and all the rest of them are going up, and then you look at all the trees around it, and none of them else have this these two branches that just point straight like that. Okay, so they're pointing to this tree that is also led to by the creeping thyme and the Indian tobacco. Then when you're standing in front of this tree, at the right time, coincidentally, when the spider web appears, is also when the moon appears behind this tree that you're looking at. Okay, so you have a sign here that says North Telephone Pole, and then you have a tree here with the moon behind it. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. It's just a fucking tree with a moon, right? Well, the tree with the moon has a couple more trees beside it, so when you're standing in front of it, it kind of cascades this way. Okay, like I don't know if I'm using the word cascade right there, guys. I'm not a fucking genius, but that's what I mean. You know, like things are kind of going this way, and you're looking at it from here. So your perspective, they kind of get smaller. So to me, that's cascading. I might be wrong about that. But anyway, they cascade this way, and then that makes them kind of look like telephone poles, right? Telephone poles or street lights. These are supposed to be street lights. I don't know how to draw street lights, but or telephone poles for that matter. But you can see, like, what I'm trying to show you there is that they're similar, right? That's also important because there's another thing there that's similar to all of these, and that is tally marks. Okay? So your tally marks, your telephone poles. First of all, your telephone poles and your street lamps are the same thing, right? They're poles that line the street. Not the same thing, but kind of the same thing. And then you have your trees here that cascade in the same size and shape and everything, just like your telephone poles and this. And then you have tally marks, which are just lines connected by another line, which is what these are, right? Like poles connected by a line, poles connected by a line, or electricity, poles connected by well, your imagination in a weird way there, but right, they're all poles that connect, and when you do a tally mark, it goes this way, so it kind of shows you, you know, everything's going that way, right? These are all representations of the same thing. Another example of representations of the same thing, you get your crosses, right, for, you know, graves. But what are crosses, guys? They're just X's at a different angle. There also could be represent telephone poles, right? So just another example of how three things can be the same thing in a weird way. It's just like what we're doing here. Four things are kind of the same thing, overlapping. So anyway, let's back up again. Center of the spider. That's why we're here. We're at the center of the spider when we're at the North Telephone Pole spider web. It looks to this tree, which looks like a telephone pole, and when you're standing, like I say, you pick up your Indian tobacco and you're standing in front of this tree that looks like a telephone pole. If you go directly, so you're just following it, right? Like you're like, okay, I'll pretend this is an arrow and then I'll just follow it. It's gonna bring you right here to this North Telephone Pole that we find in the spider web. Right? So it's the same thing. It's just pointing you in a different, I want to say different way, but I don't want people to get confused there. It's pointing you to the same place in the same direction as the North Spiderweb telephone pole thing that is found right beside it. Okay, so the reason the center of the spider is key is because going forward we have to use trees and rocks and landmarks. Even before that we were doing that, we just didn't realize it yet, but we have to use nature. Okay, so that's what they're saying here. The center of the spider is key because you need to learn all of this shit by the time you get there so that you can go keep moving forward. You got to learn that, okay, things are similar. You got a North Telephone Pole. There can be overlapping signs. I've been saying this for a while. When you find one clue, you can actually find more than one clue pointing you to the same thing if you just backtrack a little bit and, you know, kind of do it over again. Like, every single time I go back to Butcher's Creek so that I can help you guys explain this shit, I find new reasons that point us in the same direction. Okay. Alright, so that's your center of the spider. Hope I covered that well. The colors are key too, right? So, like, everybody's starting to notice that the spider tattoos are this color, this teal type color. I've been saying for a while, when I found the spider tags in GTA, after following the path from Red Dead, it turned into a graffiti path in GTA, and I found the spider tags and started following that, and they are this teal color that the spider tattoos are. Okay, so it's a rare color too. Like, you only find it very specific places, towards the end of the games too. Like, more characters start wearing it in the later chapters. A lot of that does have to do with you going to New Austin, and then, like, like Phoenix and Tech, they all wear teal shit. Or was teal? Wait a minute, is that the right color? I'm getting mixed up. But you know what I mean. It's this color here. It's like a greenish blue, bluish green, however you want to say it. So you get that color is connecting them to the tattoos, which tells me that the spider is connected to the graffiti, and the spider we know is connected to Red Dead. So it's all tying everything together like a web. Just quickly want to touch on the paths too. I got a post on this about the Boy Scout relationship and how the sashes, and I was a Boy Scout, so that's another reason a lot of this kind of came together for me. I was like, it's always, a lot of stuff in Red Dead's been familiar, and one day I put the Boy Scout connection together, because you have all the animals too. Like, there's a lot of animal symbolism if you ever read the Cub Scout guidebook. It's all about, like, it's the Jungle Book, right? Like, all the characters in the Jungle Book, Ka and Baloo and all those guys, they tie into scouts somehow. I don't know the whole history of it, but, like, that's what our leaders were called when we were kids, right? So, like, you'd have your little pack there. It was like 6 or 7 kids, and then they'd have an adult leader usually that would be their guy, and that adult leader would have a name like Baloo or Ka, or those are the only 2 names I can really remember right now. I think Ka was always like the main leader of the scout troop. Right? I was a part of like some big scout troops with like 60 kids, and then I was part of, like, we moved, and I was part of another one where we had like 7 kids. But I think the main guy was always called, he was the name of the tiger. Anyway, sidetracked. But all that stuff's important, right? Because what I'm trying to say is, like, the yellow path, in Cub Scouts you have a sash. Right, let me grab that real quick. Alright, so here's my sash. The red path, this is all the stuff you do as an individual, right? That's why your patches go here. So this is your individual path, is the red path, much like Red Dead Redemption. The yellow lines on the outside represent guidance. Your leaders, maybe God, whoever's guiding your path, right, and helping you. That's why they're on the side, because they're guiding your red path. So that's what happens in Red Dead. When you set your waypoint, it's red, and then if they set a waypoint, it's yellow, because they're guiding you. Right? Coincidence, sure, probably, but with all the animal shit involved too. Like, look at that patch, man. That's a cigarette card. That's like the same image as the bass that I'm always bitching about and telling you guys it's on the map, and it's the clue after Window Rock. Yeah, a lot of this shit ties in, man. Anyway, I got a whole post on Reddit that breaks it down, like, badge by badge, how it relates to Red Dead. There's a lot of similarities there. Gotta make a coffee, guys. Gotta make a coffee here. So, sorry if I'm out of frame. Let me keep talking here. I don't know if you guys can see this, but while I'm making my coffee, I want to point this out. Just some movies, some key movies. There's a lot of movie references and shit, and people are, like, hyper fixated on some of the movie references. I don't know how you tie them into the game, other than that they're just movie references. But, like, if you can find a path and do that, good for you. But these are some of the ones I strongly recommend. Island of Dr. Moreau is kind of a weird one. But that's kind of what's happening, right? They're testing us. We have the ability to get into animal bodies and things like that. And if you watch the Island of Dr. Moreau, the animals are actually their personalities are mirrored in Red Dead Redemption, right? And that you can just say like, oh, that's how animals behave, but it's like, watch the movie, you'll see what I mean there. Yeah, Matrix, obvious one, because I'm fucking red pilled. Inception, you know, like, what's that line that I keep posting there? It's, no idea is simple if you have to place it in the brain of another human being or whatever, and that's what all this shit is, right? Like, somebody else has to figure it all out, and then it's in my fucking head, and I have to explain it. The Searchers is really good. It's like an old John Wayne movie that they're just looking for, I think they're looking for a couple of little girls, but it might just be one. I can't totally remember. I'll have to watch that one again. True Man, just to kind of see what is really happening here. Ferris Bueller, White and Bueller. That one was brought to my attention by another YouTuber that fucking hates me. It's got good shit. I don't know what his fucking problem is. Warriors, that one should be obvious. You know, they made a goddamn game out of it, and They Live, which is kind of a little bit of everything there. So, yeah, check those out. Help you understand some things. Help me understand some things. Oh, that's good coffee. Alright, I got a lot I want to say here, and I don't want this video to go too long, so let's try and go a little quicker. Quick thing I want to point out, some terminologies that are kind of all the same. Caught in a web, stuck in a maze, and roads to nowhere are all kind of have the same meaning. Just want to point that out now, because it will be kind of relevant in the future, maybe a later video. So what are we doing here? We're going to, from the center of the spider, we do a bunch of shit. We go to some poles. We get the crosses I was talking about there. Can they be crosses, telephone poles, X's? They can be all three. When we get them here, they are telephone poles, and we know that because we find them on a telephone pole. But the reason I'm pointing it out is because it's reminding us. Like, watch my videos when we start at Butcher's Creek, and you'll see that we start with crosses, and then we get to the fort, and we get more crosses. And then later we're going to get X's, so it goes from like crosses to telephone poles to X's, which are all kind of the same thing. Another important thing here, we have to go north west, right? That's what our first telephone pole, it gives us a W. Then we get a bunch of crosses or poles and another W, right? So we got a northwest W, and then we got another W and a guitar. And the guitar pointed us to two more W's, right? So W, W, two more W's found at the fort. Also M's, right? Also birds, right? So when we find that shit, it's all three of these things, right? So our W, W led us to W, W, right? Also Fort Wallace. Right, another W, just to show you kind of you're on the right track. They're giving you the layering of everything. So I'm positive that's our next clue, because WWWWWWF fucking WWF Federation, right? Like, sorry, I just went on a rant there. It had nothing to do with anything, but there's just so many W's that it's clearly overlapping some shit. Also, there's the station too. So when you're at Fort Wallace, I'm telling us all to go like down the river towards. Coincidentally, if you do go down the river, you end up in the middle of the Dakota River. But I also found another way to get to the middle of the Dakota River is if Fort Wallace and then what's that fucking station? It's the station. It's like near a trapper, and it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing really around it. Like Strawberry and Valentine are kind of close to it, but not really. It's kind of out of the way, and fuck, I can't remember what it is now. But it also starts with a W. And then if you go to the middle of it, of Fort Wallace and that station, you actually end up in the middle of the two birds again, that I call the Dakota River. So just another way, like I'm going to show you how I got there, and I have showed you how I got there, but I was like, oh shit, I noticed this the other day. Like, if you had to just put together that these are two W's and these are two W's, and you need to go to the middle of the two W's, you would end up in the exact same place that I ended up by following the birds. So again, just confirmation that it's the correct path, or at least one of many correct paths. Anyway, I got so much shit drawn here now. Okay, so you get your WW, right? You got your two birds, and this is important because between the two birds, you got a space. There's a space between them, a center, right? So we came from the center of our spider. We found two birds with a space, a center. We know signs point to things because we had our north, or west guitar, right? So west pointed us in a direction and they gave us a guitar. When we got to the next fort, we now know that symbols point, right? Because north points, that's, I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but when you get a symbol like that that says north, or you get one that says northwest, it is now pointing you northwest, right? It's not physically pointing you, but it is, that's what it's doing. It's saying go northwest. It's pointing. So from here, we know symbols can point. We got a guitar. We also know symbols are landmarks because of the fucking trees. So we got the guitar in the river that make a, we got the fort in the river that make a guitar. And that's where we found our two birds. And our guitar is pointing us to two more birds, right, at the top of Window Rock. So the northwest pointed us to a guitar where we found two birds with a space between them. The guitar points us, that is the fort, that guitar that is the fort, and the river points us to Window Rock. When we get to Window Rock, we climb to the top. We go through the window, like a rock through a window. That's the wordplay. Yes, it is a rock. It is a window made of rocks, but it can also mean go through it, like a rock through a window. So that's what you do. You go through it, and you keep walking up, and you get up to a giant rock face that looks like a cowboy. And I get, okay, maybe it doesn't look like a cowboy to anybody else. Well, it does look like a cowboy to a lot of people. But I get, if you don't get that it looks like a cowboy, that's fine. But it is still a weird rock formation in a weird place. Period. Okay? And I see a face at it, and that face is looking up a ramp. Right? It's ramping you up to a high point. We know about high points from the Heartland oil fields video. Watch some of those that I've made. You got to get high. You got to go to the highest point. So now we got a cowboy pointing us up a ramp to two birds that have a space between them. Okay? Two birds with a space between them. Cowboy, us, Arthur, me, you, right? If this giant cowboy was us, and then Arthur was standing in front of that giant cowboy, that's kind of our perspective as we're playing the game, right? So that's what we're doing here. We're mirroring what we're doing in real life in a weird way. So our guitar, or our cowboy, kind of represents us, the one made of rocks. And then we got to take Arthur and move him to the space between the two birds, right? Because that's our commonality there. We have two spaces. We have two birds and a space between them in both places. So it's safe to assume we want to go there. And when you go there, you get a great view, right? That's part of all of this. That's kind of the point of all of this shit I think they've set up, is to appreciate it and everything they've created and notice all this stuff. Right? It's like life, man. What's the point of life? Just appreciate it. Just enjoy the ride. Appreciate the view. That's the key to life. And just be fucking nice to people, right? If they leave a comment on something, don't fucking snap on them, you psychos. Dream Quest, bitches. So yeah, man, that's the guitar, or the cowboy points you to between the two birds on Window Rock, the two eagles. So now you are the cowboy between the two birds. You are the space between the two birds. Ugh. Another thing I need to point out, if I didn't mention it, you get a WW, right? And that's if you go through the mission, you will enter the fort, go through the mission, go to the roof, and you will see a WW. If you don't do it that way, and you sneak up on it just any other time in the game, you're going to go up there, you're going to look at it with your camera, and you're going to get the opposite angle. So now you got two M's, okay? And that's important. right? So different perspectives depending on how you did the mission, what time you did the mission, because this you have to actually do it in the game, right? I can do this well into the epilogue and see the two M's, but to see the W's, I have to do it in the game and in the mission. So timing is going to give you a different perspective. There's a space. This is where the community divides, right? So I don't know if that's what they're going for there. I kind of think that's part of it. It's also you are the space between everything and all that shit. You gotta go to the centers, but it's just funny to me that like this is really where we all divided, right? Like we're all kind of on the same path. Then we got to these two birds with a space between them, and now we're all separated. And that it's just kind of funny. I don't know if it's planned, like I say, but it's just that's weird how that worked like that. I also got World of Warcraft written down here. As I wrote it, I noticed they both start with W's, and it gives you two more W's. That's probably just a coincidence. But the reason I bring that up is World of Warcraft, and friend on YouTube there pointed this out months ago. I had no idea what she was talking about. But as I've gotten deeper, I've been able to research more and more, and I'm seeing like, oh shit, now I realize what she was saying. So there was an Epic Quest bunny, by the way, if you're there, or your name on YouTube is I Don't Care because it was taken, which is an awesome name. I just want to give you credit because you did point this out to me months ago. The World of Warcraft had this huge quest, and most of the community had to be part of it. Most people didn't even kind of know they were part of it because they were just building shit and supplying resources and doing how they normally play stuff. And then it was just like, you gotta look it up, guys. I can't explain it. I didn't play it. I've been told about it and read a couple comments and a Reddit post about it. But it's this huge epic quest where everybody had to kind of gather and piece together stuff so that other specific people could kind of go forward, right? Not everybody got to go forward and move on and complete it. But everybody had to work together so some people could do it. I think that's partially what this is based on. It's a gathering of information. We're all putting our pieces together, all the different YouTubers, all the different Reddit posts. We all have parts of the clue, parts of a puzzle. So when you put, I might put like a couple of pieces of a puzzle together here, right? So like, I'm not drawing a puzzle, I'm just drawing some shapes that fit together. Right, so to say this is my part of the puzzle. But then my buddy Tinfoil Hat, he's over here in a different game, and he's putting together his piece of the puzzle, right? And then when we're done, my piece like connects to his piece, right? So it's not like one person is ever going to solve this shit, is what I'm saying. I said this to somebody else a while ago, and I still believe it. What's going to happen here is a lot of us are going to put a bunch of pieces together, and then some fucking 12-year-old kid's going to come along in like 10 years and watch all our YouTube videos and then put all of those pieces together. And that's how this thing, I think, is eventually going to get fucking solved. It's like, we're all going to do our part, man, and then somebody else is going to just swoop in and use it all. But, which is fine, like, as long as it gets solved. But I think that's what we're doing here. Alright. So yeah, space between us, the mirrors, right? So this is where they first started showing us mirrors in the spider mystery, at least. Mirrors are a big part throughout Red Dead, but in the spider mystery, you got your WW, and then you got your M&M, and that's when we started mirroring things, or noticed mirrors are in play, right? Because even the W's are mirrored, right? That's a mirror there, that's a mirror there, and then you throw another mirror here, and then you have two more mirrors, and then you have this M mirrors that M, right? It's all mirrored. And that's how I kind of realized when I was standing at the top of Window Rock between the two eagles, I now had to travel. I had to now travel down river. Okay? That's roughly the Dakota River. Right? So I was at the top of Window Rock, standing between two birds. I looked at my map and realized that the Dakota River is also two birds, and I need to get here because I went from the middle of the W's to the middle of the eagles to the middle of the river, and that's what we're doing. We're mirroring everything as we're going. Yeah, and then we're going to take a huge leap of faith, find a turkey and a goose, and then we're going to ride a giant fish. And the eye of fish will land us in the eye of God. The giant fish will land us in the eye of God. That's a weird sentence to say, but that's what's happening within the fucking game. And anything else I'm missing before I let you guys go? Of course, like always, I forgot to say hit like and subscribe or something. It helps a lot. Just trying to get the word out to you guys. Fuck, this coffee's good. I'm not drinking it. What else? Beavers. I've been wondering why beavers are a big part of Red Dead Redemption. Well, beavers are a big part of Cub Scouts. You got your stars. I never got my red star, ironically. There's 5 stars and I only have 4, and I don't have the red one. But these each represent different things within the game too. Like they line up fully, like everything and like life. I'm probably somewhere in the middle there. So this is all nonsense. I don't know why I'm still talking. Nobody wants to hear any of this shit I'm saying right now. Thanks for coming.